Hey there, thanks so much for watching today's video. This video is brought to you by the Ann Arbor District Library and the Ann Arbor Art Center. Today we're going to be drawing neurographic art, and if you're not familiar with neurographic art, I highly recommend doing a quick Google search so that you can kind of familiarize yourself with the complexities of it all. But in general, the idea is that neurographic art can be broken down into kind of the brain and the image, so the neuro and the graphic. And so that's why it's called neurographic art. And it's used as an art therapy technique that helps people really make connections, and a lot of people find it to be very therapeutic and meditative, relaxing, and it's just based on lines and shapes and connecting things. And so it's really nice, fun thing to do. So I would encourage you to find a time when to do this when you just feel like you need to relax or meditate on something. I think this can be a really great opportunity to just take some a mental break or mindfulness exercise. So I'm going to walk you through the process of it, but there is formal training actually at this point that goes along with it that I do not have. So bear with me as I do my own little version or my take on it, but feel free to look it up yourself so that you can get a more in-depth understanding of the process itself. So grab a piece of paper along with a Sharpie or some kind of marker, and we're just going to draw a line, just some kind of random line, and it's going to be some kind of squiggle and go from one side of your paper to another. It's okay if the line crosses paths with itself. Try not to turn it into anything, it's just a line. The next thing you're going to do is add some shapes. So pick one shape. I picked a diamond, and you're going to place it around your paper. So look at, kind of the spacing of it so that you don't have a bunch of teeny tiny little shapes, but that it's nicely distributed across your page. Now it's time to go ahead and start making connections. So what you're going to do is find an intersection and start making those points where two lines intersect, making them rounded and more curved. So you can see the way that I'm doing that here. So any place on my drawing that those lines crisscross, I am connecting it and making it a more smooth kind of transition, I guess, from one line into another. So I'm just doing that across my whole page. So I'm kind of just looking through the whole thing and doing those lines. And then one more step with the ink pen is going to be to draw some kind of pattern inside some of the enclosed areas. So you can decide how you want to do that. It does not have to be the same pattern every single shape. You can see I'm doing some stripes, and I'm choosing those shapes to fill in, but if you wanted to use some of those like negative spaces like this, you can also fill that in with some kind of shape or pattern or design. So regardless though, once you do those designs or patterns, you're going to do the same thing of going back in by smoothing out the connection. So you can see the way I'm doing that in the bottom left corner here with that diamond, sort of diamond shape, and just smoothing out where those lines connect or touch the line that's running perpendicular to it. So I am now going to just do that process. This is a time-consuming process, so even though you're seeing this digitally, of course, this is a time-lapse video. So you're seeing this on super speed, what probably took me from start to finish, I would guess, maybe 4 hours or so. You're seeing this in just a few minutes. So recognize that this may look a lot faster and easier and smoother, but that's just because you're watching a time-lapse video. Alright, so once you are finished with that step, the next step is going to be to start coloring. I recommend choosing something like colored pencils and really practicing that burnishing and blending. So if you've got some nice Prismacolor colored pencils around, or even if you don't, you've just got, you know, your Crayola or whatever, anything will work, it's fine. But practice doing the fading from one color to the next, or one color to just a lighter version where you're kind of practicing some value and blending, adjusting the pressure of how hard you're pressing down on your paper to apply the colored pencil. So you can see the way that I'm doing that here with these colors. I'm also choosing a somewhat limited color palette here. I'm not going to use a full range of color. I always, most of the time anyway, most of the time when I'm starting some kind of artwork, I start with just a few colored pencils, maybe 4. And you know, as I go, if it just feels a little bit difficult to stay that limited, then I may go in to start using a different color. But I try to start by limiting my color palette as much as possible. So you can see here the way I'm just using this smaller selection of colors and really practicing blending that. Of course, this is different digitally, but I'm still using the colored pencil, the colored pencil tool that I have on my app that I'm using so that it looks kind of similar. And then for blending, if you aren't familiar with blending tools for colored pencils, you can do a couple different things. So one, Prismacolor makes a wonderful colorless blender colored pencil. It kind of looks like a natural wood kind of color on the outside, and then it's basically just clear. So it's just the colored pencil like binder or whatever you would call that, just it has no pigment. So I love the way that looks. It really makes it, if you press down hard enough, which you have to really press down hard, then it will blend really nicely. They also have one, Prismacolor makes another one that is a marker version that also works pretty well. I know a lot of people enjoy that. And then another option, which can be a little tricky and kind of messy, but I have done it before, where you actually use baby oil and a little cotton swab and dip the cotton swab into a little bit of baby oil. And again, you do have to press down pretty hard, I will say, with the colored pencil for that to really work without it just looking like an oily mess. But it will actually break down the pigment just a little bit and create a really bold, smooth transition. So I would definitely test that out first on a scrap sheet of paper before you do this entire drawing and then mess it up with oil. So, but test it out. Blending is really fun, and it can really make your designs very, very, very bold, but you do have to press down pretty hard with your colored pencils. So, you know, if you have any concern, if you've got arthritis or carpal tunnel, whatever, any of those kinds of things, you got to be careful with the pressing down really hard with your pencil. So do be mindful of that. I don't want you to injure yourself in this process, because I always have to take breaks when doing this kind of colored pencil drawings, coloring when I'm pressing down that hard. I mean, I'll get hand cramps, and I don't have any, you know, different restrictions or anything like that, but it's just, it can be hard. So anyway, I hope that you all have enjoyed watching this video today, and I hope that you'll tune in with me next time.